Hi, in this video, I will review the current offline Q&A between KOG and some players in Korea. I will review some of these and make an analysis of the KOG's behavior after the wave of the boycott in Korea with these questions and answer. Let's start with this question. If a large number of people report it as an in-game report, even if it is not a bad manners chat, they are indiscriminately taking action, making it difficult to use normal chatting. Do you plan to keep the in-game reporting feature, or do you plan to revamp it in a different direction? Answer. When in-game chat reporting was introduced, real-time restrictions were applied to quickly isolate the offending reporter from the problem situation and improve the situation. However, we are aware that the situation at the time of introduction and the current in-game situation has changed somewhat, so it may work differently than intended. So, we are looking for ways to improve Elsword's in-game reporting system, such as introducing a more sophisticated chat detection system for bad manners. If there are any changes to this, we will inform you in more detail through a notice. Why did I pick this topic? Well, I think some of you guys will have an experience about getting in the social media platform, especially Facebook, right? I also getting banned for 1 week because of sexualized photoshops, and that is my face. It's just my selfie picture and I use it as a profile picture, but I getting banned because of sexualized photoshops. That is ridiculous, right? So, my point is, use the auto detection is full of error and you will get banned from type, fluke. But the auto detection see you typing F word instead and then you got banned from typing, fluke. I think you got my point, right? So, I disagree if you ban the player according to the auto detection, but if you use it as a tool to help you and investigate the case before take action is yes. If the auto detection ban was really applied to the game, your life is not different in China. So, use it wisely. Question. I wonder why most of the reports on the bug report board are normal and avoid answering the specific situation, but when it is quiet, the reported information is patched. In addition, if the information you reported is normal, I would like you to clearly tell us why it is normal. Answer. As I said at the offline interview site, the basic principle is to correct errors as quickly as possible to reduce inconvenience. Therefore, among the contents received on the bug report board, the parts that were judged to be normal for planning purposes at the time of delivery are notified to adventurers. And the parts that are judged to be problems internally are prioritized and corrected. However, regardless of whether the contents received by adventurers are normal or not, we are additionally checking and discussing internally whether there are any parts of the data that need improvement, so cases that are modified after the answers may occur. And this process is not intended to be avoided. Please do not misunderstand that it is not. I can't explain everything, but I'll guide you so that adventurers can understand as much as possible in a notice where you can check the answers or corrections. The translation is a bit confusing, so, from my understanding, I don't think they're trying to avoid the answer and make a discussion after gathering the information, bug report, error and etc. to find the way to solve the problem and focus on solving the problem will take some time, so, you need to be patient and they have a work to do. And they also answer your report with the notice, so, you need to chill the F out some time and give them some time. Question. Could you please notify the balance patch by adding comments about the correction, such as the reason for the adjustment, rather than simply explaining the numbers? Answer. Previously, comments were only made on the overall direction. It is difficult to write comments for all cases, but we will try our best to guide you through comments for areas that have a large impact. I agree with explain for every adjustment, and they say it is difficult to write comments for all cases. That is bullshit. You should know about what you do. It's like, I see you fart to your chair and I come to you and ask, hey, How do you fart? And you answer me. It's difficult to explain. Just write down the comment or take a note every time when you adjust something, and that is not a difficult thing to do. Question. Currently, Elsword has strengthened the concept of a role group for each character's job, and there are jobs whose roles change depending on the situation. So even if they are in the same position, there are deviations, or there are problems with entry barriers in the job of a specific position. Confusion is brewing. I hope to officially clarify the concept of role groups for each job, and through this, I hope that problems such as deviations and barriers to entry within a specific position do not occur. Answer. It is true that the role has been strengthened for smooth and effective party play through raid content. However, since the distinction may not be clear depending on the adventurer's equipment settings or play style, I think it is difficult to specify a fixed role group, or occupational group, in the content according to the former job. Regarding the variation of characters, rather than considering the numerical variation in each individual's attack ability or synergy effect, we will try to balance the difference in preference for the former job. In my opinion, it's impossible to make an obvious role for each character and class right now due to the game design. But decreasing the gap between characters is the one way to help you can figure out how to give the role to each character and class after every character and class's gap is narrow. And then you can give the role to those characters and class easily after that. But however, the most important thing that you need to solve right now, and balancing is the key to doing this, is to do whatever to increase the unpopular characters' population. Then you decrease the gap between the character after having a balance in the character's population. Question. Even though the balance patch cycle has a long cycle of 2 months, only some characters are being patched. Curious about the reason for the current balance patch cycle. And do you have any plans to reduce the cycle? Answer. The existing balance cycle of 6 weeks was intended to reduce the balance gap by increasing the frequency of balance patches. But as more parts to be considered for balance have increased due to the addition of content later, balance patches are currently scheduled in 6-week increments. We are judging that it is difficult to proceed. So, we are reviewing the balance patch cycle. I think having the balance patch will depend on how well you balance the game. If you're doing a good job with balancing the game, then you can use the balance patch cycle for 2 to 3 months, but if you suck at balancing the game, you should do it every month. Question. Even before the 4th line was updated, there was a wide gap in the balance between each former job, but after all 4th line updates were completed, the balance gap for each former throughout done PvP has become more severe. In the past, after new content, new line jobs, or new characters were added, efforts were made to narrow the gap for each character through character renewal or reboot patch, but after the reboot patch, 56 new jobs were added every 6 weeks. Only a few of the former jobs have been doing balance patches or only passive patches that only adjust damage or stat options. I wonder if there is a reboot patch that reduces the gap between each former class in this summer update. Answer. We are not considering a full reboot for this summer update. We will continue to work on balance. My answer. You should make the poll or the survey to let players all around the world, not only Korean players, vote, or do a survey about what is the most important right now and what the players all around the world want you to do. Then you work on it. With this, the majority of the players will stop complaining about you because you working and focusing on what they want, and I'm pretty sure that the full reboot will be the most wanted thing for the players. But however, the balance of each character's population is still the #1 priority for me. Question. It is important whether or not the movement speed is affected in Elsword. I wonder why the action speed, a common system in the game, is applied differently for each character's skill. Answer. In order to realize skill direction and skill effects suitable for the concept, the application of motion speed may be limited for some skills. My answer. Design and balancing the character depend on the concept as a fantasy land. It's nearly impossible to balance the game depending on the concept, but what you can do is try not to increase the gap between the character, and talk about the character's speed. The character that has a high speed should have low defense and lower attack power than slower one, right? But in Elsword, the character that has high speed like Labby has a better defense and attack power than Rose, which is the slower character, and also the hit stun time also depends on the speed too. And that is why this person asks you about the speed, so improve about the speed in the game is also very important in balancing. Question. In Pruinaum challenge mode, there is no deal time at all. That's why users secure a deal time by betting on freezing. And that's why only certain characters with freezing skills are preferred. Any suggestions for improvement? Answer. We are preparing for improvement. My answer. This is how they avoid the question. Sometimes you need to be straightforward to the question, like, we still do not have enough information about this, and we will improve it after we got enough information from the players. And you can also share your opinion about this improvement too. It's better, right? Why do you keep the balance forum open even though it has been confirmed that there will be no matchup balance patch? Answer. A battle balance patch is scheduled for June 22, 2. We welcome your comments in the balance forum. My answer. They're just avoiding the question. And it's like, we do not care much about the comment in the balance forum, but we also welcome your comments in the balance forum too. What you talked about at the last meeting about the awakening time stop still hasn't been done properly. Are you willing to do it again? Answer. The awakening time stop was improved after the meeting. In order to apply the same criteria during the improvement work, the same time has been applied based on the end of the awakening motion for each character. The part due to the time difference of each character's awakening motion may have an effect. My answer. Just fix the motion. Currently, the maximum applied value for Master Class cooldown reduction is 35%, which has a ceiling. However, in the case of the European server, it has been confirmed that there is no ceiling for reducing the Master Class cooltime, so I wonder if the Korean server can also remove the ceiling for reducing the Master Class cooltime. Answer. For regions other than Korea, there are differences in the timing of application of content, issue fixes, and enhancements. The same applies in the long run for things that are essential to play. My answer. The player is like, can we make Korean server have the value about the Master Class cooldown reduction the same as other servers? And KOG's answer is like blah 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 blah. Then, the same applies in the long run for things that are essential to play. It's like, the person 1 is not tall like other people in the group. Can you make the person 1 become tall like the other person? And then you answer, the person 1 is not tall because of this and that, and it's essential to have everyone tall in the group. Well, I'm not sure if KOG's answer makes me confused because they do not answer the question properly, or if Google Translate is the one that confuses me. Currently, there are many bugs in the Pruinaum challenge mode, such as the Hadron not being shocked or frozen normally, or the range of high barns carpet bombing being hit differently for each character. I wonder why the error is not being fixed. In the case of Hadron, there is a problem that the debuff immunity status looks different for each client in patterns that should be debuff immune after phase change. Because of this, there is a part that does not sync when frozen or shocked, and that part is in the process of being corrected. In the case of Hyben, each character has a different size and motion, so the hit judgment is entered differently. We will do our best to alleviate the inconvenience of playing the challenge mode as much as possible. You know what, you have the right to say like this. We intend to make it hard. Just that, if you want to make it hard you can just say that. As long as it doesn't downgrade the character's performance, it's okay to make it hard, and you can say it out loud, just be straightforward sometimes. But I think that you didn't have a ball to say it out loud because you feel guilty all the time due to getting complaints a lot from the player. I wonder why you didn't improve the part where multiple patterns appear at the same time in Pruinaum challenge mode and why you didn't lower the bomb HP of the mid-high class boss. Is it correct that you directly cleared the challenge mode difficulty and measured it? The bomb stamina of the mid-high class boss was modified through a regular inspection on May 25, 2. Other patterns will be reviewed and improved. We will also be able to review the patterns and difficulty improvements that adventurers give us. I understand how game developers feel and I also have an experience in game development too. But you know what, if you have confidence in what you're doing, you just do it your way and make sure that will not affect the community. Like, the character balance, and about the character balance, you can't do it with your way. Because the one who plays those characters is the players, not you, and the one that feels the unfairness in competition is the players, not you, so I didn't against about making the boss very hard and take the player like 1 hour to kill the boss, as long as the character's gap is narrow and the player not feel unfair while playing the game. That is okay. Do what you want. Unlike other games that compete only with physical abilities, Elsword PvP relies on item abilities. What do you think about this and are you willing to improve? Answer. In the case of Elsword PvP, it is recommended to play using basic controls and item stats. However, the excessive application of item stats became an issue, so in the meantime, we have supplemented it with item stat corrections and duelist equipment to improve that part. We plan to continue to maintain the current direction. My answer. Duelist equipment will not fix any shit of this unbalance problem from the equipment at all. And if you want to make the PvP balance, you must make a new mode for PvP. A mode that you can only use specific equipment and can't be enhancements, and the costume is also fixed and I recommend using the character's promotion costume for this mode. The only thing that the player can optimize is the socket in equipment and costume, and get the element enhancement for the weapon and armor for free for this specific equipment. In many cases, the intention of the update is unknown due to the lack of explanation of updates and bug fixes in the notice. Please explain the intention of the update through a live broadcast every Wednesday evening when the update notice is posted. Answer. Regarding fixing issues with impact, we will provide an explanation of the phenomenon and the intent of fixing it through developer notes in the future. We apologize for the inconvenience caused by the lack of explanation about updates and bug fixes. My answer. The player asks you to make a live broadcast every Wednesday, and then you answer. We will provide this given explanation that, and apologize for the inconvenience because of lacking an explanation about updates and bug fixes. Just answer the question first. And apologize is second. The official matchup party system is controversial. Are there any plans to remove it? Answer. When I tried to delete the system in the past, I withdrew due to negative feedback from many adventurers. Additional changes are currently not being considered. My answer. It's good to take the player as the main factor when come to develop the game, so keep it that. Are you thinking of selling your character promotion avatars for cash? Answer. We do not plan to sell promotional avatars as cash items. My answer. Make it available only in PvP mode that I have mentioned before will be nice. Can you extract or share the pet used for other characters? Answer: we are not currently considering it. My answer: you should make that item and sell it in the cash shop for only extract. I would like you to add an option to prevent exposure of information that can identify users' tendencies, such as chatting or nicknames, when recording Elsword play videos. Answer: even if the nickname is not exposed, it is judged that it is difficult to solve the problem in that part. In this regard, if there are many requests from adventurers, we will review them. My answer: edit your freaking video yourself. I would like you to give me a flat hit skill pet often. Most users prefer pets that use flat rate judgment skills, but they are not released often. Some Meloton and Solhawa, flat hit, pets are being traded at high prices. Answer: we will try to release various styles of pets. My answer: I agree with KOG, make every pet the same is boring. Resonance levels of existing users have been leveled up. I wonder if there are any plans to improve the resonance gap. Answer: resonance is an important axis of growth, and changes such as reorganization are judged to have a large impact on all users. In case of reorganization, we are not considering reorganization right away as it is a part that needs to be reviewed carefully and from various angles. We are reviewing from a long-term perspective. My answer: I have a plan about resonance gap for you in the next video, please stay tuned. I think combat power is the most inconsistent and meaningless system in Elsword. Even with the same equipment, there is a big difference in combat power for each character. And even if the same equipment is worn, there is a big difference in combat power depending on the setting worn by the user. Answer: we believe that combat power does not reasonably reflect all of the character's abilities 100%. We have already reviewed ways to complement it, but we have not been able to come up with a suitable alternative. We are still looking for improvements. My answer: just change the passive or the skill that depends on the combat power to non-depend on combat power, and that is what the players complain about. Do you have plans to envision a room with thoughts, Drabaki, with 2 difficulty levels and different rewards like challenge mode, hell mode? Answer: a space filled with thoughts Drabaki does not judge that it is content that requires a distinction of difficulty. My answer: the player asks you to add the challenge mode or hell mode for a Drabaki boss, not ask you about what is Drabaki boss. You need to answer the question properly. Or maybe the Google Translate confused me and maybe you answer the question properly. During the story reorganization 2 years ago, several dungeons in the Rubin-Lennox section were deleted. And before that, there are some dungeons that were deleted long ago, before fielding. There are many users who miss the deleted dungeons even after quite a while. Even if it's an event, don't you think of reprinting it again? Answer: we are not currently considering it. My answer: you can bring them back in the future content. Are there any plans to expand the size of the guild storage? Answer: we are not currently considering it. My answer: forcing the player to delete the item because of didn't have space enough to store the item is the one way to indirectly deflation of the supply in the game's ecosystem. Due to the blockage of drag switching, inconvenience increased to users who used the game while switching equipment, such as consideration for the strong heat dissipation engine and Tenebros equipment. Any plans to add an equipment page preset system? Answer: equipment page preset switching is not considered. Unlimited cooldown adjustments for individual equipment switching are currently under review. My answer: if the equipment page preset switching has really applied to the game will be a lot easier, like when you fight the boss in the phase that you need to take the damage. You can switch the equipment page to the tanky equipment, then switch back to the damage dealing equipment page after that, so make sure to adapt it well if you really want to add this system to the game. Raid is basically end and hard content, and it is a place where you aim to farm for spec up, so it is a place where appropriate compensation should be made as it is difficult to clear. In Elsword, raid rewards are low compared to other games. Do you have any plans to increase the reward level? Answer: currently, raids excluding challenge mode are rewarded with top-tier weapons and accessories. Therefore, we are not considering additional compensation. My answer: I think the most recent raid content should have a limit to enter per day. And it's content that shouldn't be the place for the player to farm or grinding. Do you plan to take the old raid system, Perquisas, Eltrion MK2, and apply it again? Answer: we considered adding it, but considering the current gameplay, we decided that it would be difficult to provide enough fun and did not proceed. My answer: it can be fun. No, it's definitely fun if you change the boss's pattern. The Ciel character shares HP stats regardless of the representative character. Can you correct this problem as well as the express setting? Answer: HP sharing is not a problem. It is intended and there are no plans to change it. My answer: HP shares, yeah. Sure, and in my opinion mana should be shared too. I know that the function that changes the character's face when changing jobs has been added since I was a child, but do you have any plans to add this function to the old character? Answer: no additions are currently being considered. My answer: I think keeping a character's identity is also important. At the time of the 2021 meeting, the modeling of the old character said that it was difficult to modify internally because the structure was simplified. Can't we add and apply a new bone structure from the newly released Avartar? I wonder if there are any plans to improve the old character modeling by learning it through AI. Answer: it is difficult to apply the AI technology of learning modeling and modeling improvement of Elsword to other areas. My answer: in my opinion, I prefer handmade modeling because the modeler can pour their passion through that character's modeling. Yes. Modeling by AI will be lacking in passion and memory in that model. And the game developer also needs a passion to develop their game too also. Please answer whether you are aware of the lack of content, and if so, how you will solve it. Answer: we are aware of the lack of content and are making efforts to increase the amount of content through the expansion of development manpower. My answer: you can find some more manpower for a free charge with the player that doing the content for you. I wonder if there will be additional new change skill updates after the 4-line change skill update is complete. Answer: we are not considering further updates at this time. My answer: not adding more but improving it more. Well, I don't think that I need to make a comment or make an analysis anymore. So, what do they get after this offline Q&A meeting? I think not that much because all of the problem and the question was already on their web board and on the YouTube channel and etc., and they can go and check it themselves, so. Well, I don't think that I need to make a comment or make an analysis anymore. So, what do they get after this offline Q&A meeting? I think not that much because all of the problem and the question was already on their web board and on the YouTube channel and etc., and they can go and check it themselves, so. It's a bit waste of time to do this while they can gathering the information online or ask the player in online. And it's also more convenient than offline meeting too, because they can just ask and don't need to prepare the place and schedule for them and the player. It's waste of time, and they should use that time into working and improving your game or playing your own game to investigate the problem and gathering the information. Yeah. Approach to the players online more, and also approach to the players all around the world more. Not only Korean players, and don't underestimate the knowledge of the players overseas, and don't think that overseas player is not important. Yes. The overseas players is one of the most important thing that you need to consider when come to the game development, and you know what? It's like 90% of the information in the world is right with English, not in Korean, not in Japan nor China, so make sure to adapt the English more, get out of your comfort zone and learn the new things. Thank you for watching and have a good day.